Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to another Knicks Media live stream. And today we are joined by the one and only CK2K. Because why? We are officially the 4th seed in the East and are going to the playoffs. And we got home court advantage. CK, how you doing today? And how are we feeling about these Knicks, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Like, I was recording my video today and I was saying things. I'm talking about the Knicks in the playoffs. Rich, I'm so used to talking about what are we going to do with this pick after the lottery, with that pick after the lottery. Will we be the first, second, third? No, I'm talking about the first round of the NBA playoffs where we have home court advantage. I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling good.
It's crazy. We come a long way. I think the first time you were here on Knicks Media was when we were 5-3, or was that the second show? I don't remember, but we had a lot of shows together. That was the second one. So we've come a long way. I think if you guys go back in time and look at my live stream with the first one with CK, we probably gave our win predictions. And hey, we were wrong, but we're trying to be realistic. It's not like we were saying we're gonna win 50 games and we only won 41. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the Knicks came a long way.
I think we even said we will be happy to be wrong. I think we said that in the show too, and we are both very happy that we were wrong.
Because here we're trying not to be delusional, we're trying to be realistic, but we got proven wrong on every single count. And in this stream, we're going to talk about the regular season. We're going to talk about who we think the unsung hero is. Talk about Julius Randle having a historical season. RJ Barrett improving in every single statistical category from the coach of the year, in my opinion. Leon Rose executive. And then we're going to talk about round 1 in the playoffs, which is the Atlanta Hawks come to town, come to New York for game 1 and game 2. We have home court advantage. And I just want to remind you guys that the New York Knicks are the 4th seed. We're not just scratching into the playoffs. It's not like the Knicks we're in the play-in tournament at 9 and we're going crazy and everyone's like, yo, why are these Knicks fans so hyped up, bro? They're in the play-in tournament. Like, we don't want to hear that anymore. We are the 4th seed. You know what I mean? We heard all that all year long. Like, why are these Knicks fans parading in the streets after wins? Why are they so overhyped? They're just around 500. Well, how about that? 10 games over 500 in the 4th seed. Let them know, CK.
41 wins in a 72-game season. The New York Knicks. Come on now. I don't want to hear it. You can try to steal our joy all you want, but we can't hear none of it. It's all white noise. We're looking forward to this weekend, to next week. We're ready to go. And we ain't listening to all that. We ain't listening to it.
And we love how we get hated on for losing. We get hated on for winning. Let it keep coming. Let it keep coming. Guys, if you're not subscribed to CK, I don't know what you're doing. Down below in the description, make sure you check him out at CK2K. He's also live on Knicks Fan TV. He's the co-host over there with CP. They do great things over there, but I'm sure you guys know CK very well. So the first segment I want to talk about is, hold on one second. Let's see. Julius Randle had an historical season. And hey, the reason why I'm saying historical is because I don't know if you guys know this, but Julius Randle, one of 5 or 6 players to ever put up the stats he put up. 24 points per game, 10+ rebounds per game, 6+ assists. He is the only player to do that. The only people that have done it with him: Larry Bird, Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robinson, Wilt Chamberlain, and Jokic after this season. That is ridiculous. I just want to remind you guys, the people we just mentioned, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robinson, those are all-time greats. And we have a generational talent in Russell Westbrook there, who's the all-time triple-doubles leader, and then Jokic, who's going to win the MVP. So, CK, what's your thoughts of Randle? And just go back in time to where you were on Julius Randle before the season, because I know where I was, and I know where a lot of Knicks fans were. And I am so thankful to be wrong. Sometimes I go back into my channel, and I see what I'm saying, and I want to go back in time and strangle myself. Because like, yo, what are you saying about Randle? You don't understand? So what's your thoughts of Julius Randle this year, man?
It's been tremendous. I mean, what's there not to say? Like, he pretty much across his entire stat line for the season, he's had career best from minutes all the way down to plus minus. Like, Julius Randle has been great, and to do it in 71 of the 72 games, that says a lot about Julius Randle. I mean, I think he's only had one season where he's played that many, where he played 81 of 82. I think that was his second year with the Lakers. But yeah, Julius Randle across the board, and everything you just mentioned too, that's the most that's the best stat line in Knicks history as well. To have 20, 10, and 5 season. No one else has done that, so Julius Randle right now he is the definition of most improved in my mind. Like, there's one thing to, bump up your scoring one year to the next, but then all your other stats stay the same. Julius Randle bumped everything up to go from a 29% shooter from three, Richie, 29% from three. And this dude is a 41 from three this season and shooting way more threes than he did in that 29% season. Like, everything about this dude has been tremendous to see, and prove guys like you and me wrong. I've said it. I made a whole video apologizing to Julius Randle earlier on the season because I'm sure I said it on this live too. I've said it on any other live, and I've definitely said it many times on my channel. I was about, trading him at the deadline so Obi can get the minutes. I was all about that movement because we all weren't sure what kind of Randle we were going to see. Even Thibodeau wasn't sure what Randle he was going to get. Nobody was sure, and he went out there and proved everybody wrong. And I'm, again, very happy to be wrong. This is an instant where I'm extremely, extremely happy to be wrong. And I've just been loving what this guy has done. And I think the last time I was on here, we were talking about the live, what's next for Julius Randle? Do we give him the money and this, that, and the third? And though the pessimism in me still wants to see what happens next year, but I'll tell you what, I'm so ready to just hand him the piece of paper and the pen and a blank check and be like, whatever it is, bro, whatever you need, just remember that we want to keep this thing going, so please be nice. That's what I want to say to Julius Randle at this point. But he's been tremendous for us, man, and the fact that he sustained it all year, that's the biggest part for me that I love.
Yeah, man. And more than just Randle's play on the court, I feel like his impact as a leader and lead by example, I feel like he's going to have such a big role on this Knicks team beyond our comprehension, because he's also a huge inspiration for anybody in basketball. Because if you look at his career path, obviously this rookie season was only 14 minutes long. He broke his leg in year one. And then he has the great Kobe Bryant mentoring him. He got a front close perspective of what Kobe Bryant does on a day-to-day basis to make him great. And Randle was looking at him like, oh my gosh, the work this guy puts in is kind of like too much, but that's what makes you great. There's a difference of being good, average, and great. The great ones put work above everything else. And we heard from Julius Randle himself. He wrote the Players Tribune article about he takes Kobe Bryant's work ethic and he's going to the gym after they land in other places, and he's going to bring that mindset. And he already did bring that mindset to New York. And now all the Knicks players, Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, IQ, all these young guys are going to be like, yo, Randle, so what did you do last offseason exactly? Because I'm trying to get on that level right now. And I feel like this offseason, I know we were going to talk about the playoffs, and we don't need to talk about the offseason because the season ain't over yet. All I'm trying to say is Randle's impact as a leader. And another thing about Randle I want to talk about is his energy on the floor. He makes you want to literally like run through a wall. Like, I know we lost that Lakers game, but after he hit that one shot and he was just like, I'm here, and he was just going crazy. Like, I love the passion he plays with. I love the determination of his mind to just go crazy. And Randle, you won the keys to New York City. You deserve the max contract in my eyes. Shout out to you. You just deserve all the praise. You deserve most improved player. You deserve MVP votes. You deserve to be the second all NBA player. And man, kudos to Julius Randle. So now the next player I want to talk about is RJ Barrett, because he improved in every single stat in year two. He went from a 32% shooter from downtown to 40%. Wait, what was it? CK. RJ Barrett shot 40% from three-point land this year. I just want to remind you. I don't know if you knew that, but pretty sure you did. Right?
Yeah.
And he went from 14 points to 17 points per game. He went from every single statistical category he improved on. So I know you made two amazing videos on RJ Barrett to remind everybody, including Knicks fans, that this man is the youngest player in the Knicks and is only going to get better. So why don't you remind everybody on how great RJ Barrett's future is going to be and go over his year two on the Knicks.
Yeah, made those two videos and got completely murdered every single time because the Knicks hate is crazy, or the RJ hate is absolutely crazy. But like you, there was a lot of like-minded and smart folks that understand the greatness of what RJ's done this year. In 1 year, Rich, like in the same season, RJ Barrett was shooting as low as I think it was 28% from the three-point line this season. This same season, he shot that low at the three-point line. This season. And what did he just end with, Rich? You want to say that three-point percentage one more time? One more time for the people in the back. I don't think they
40.2%. 40.2.
I have, and I'm going to give all the credit in the world to this person. I have a comment that was literally just reading on my channel, giving praise to RJ Barrett, talking about the fact that there's so many people that are so upset with the negatives and the flaws in RJ Barrett's game that they're not realizing how great his shooting has been and the improvement has been for this season. And he is shooting a better 3-point percentage. And I got some names for you. He's shooting a better 3-point percentage than Kawhi Leonard, 39.8%. Buddy Hield, 39.4%. Damian Lillard, 38.8%. Donovan Mitchell, 38.6%. And Jason Tatum, 38.6%. So you guys are looking at that and you're like, so what? Big deal. No, it's a big deal because not only is he shooting a better percentage than those players, he's shooting around the same amount of threes as those players. I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell. These are number one options for these teams. And Buddy Hield just being in top three. I mean, I think he's shooting way more threes than all the guys on this list. But he's shooting the same amount of threes per game as these guys and shooting a better percentage. In one season, it is a huge testament to how much work this dude put in throughout the year. This man is like an amoeba that was just mutating into this beast in 1 year. The greatness that is RJ Barrett at 20 years old, it needs to be praised. And I like I said, I'll make 2 more videos, 3 more, 5 more billion videos if I need to. If I'm continue to see Knicks fans can just go crazy on this kid, your own guy, the guy that could possibly be the future of this franchise. Like it's tremendous. And I know I'm speaking on deaf ears because I know you're just as big of an RJ Barrett as I am, a fan as I am. We've talked about it on this show many times. And yeah, it's just absolutely crazy to me that he is getting some here. I know that we got like-minded people in the chat. I'm seeing the chat right now. But yeah, it's just phenomenal. And I'm really excited to see how he does in this first playoff series, in this first playoff stint. It's not only just him, it's also Julius Randle's first time in the playoffs. I'm really excited to see how they turn this great season around into a playoff run. I want to see what they do.
Yeah, man. And just another group of players that RJ Barrett shot better than, just so you guys know. He had the highest 3-point percentage out of anybody in the lottery last year in the draft. Anybody. And he was missed out on the first and second all-rookie team. And remember the beginning of the year when they said to him, if that had an impact on him, and he said, of course it did. I'm using that as a chip on my shoulder. Like,
personally.
He took a that meme, right? And now look at it. We're here. And another, I think the most underrated part about RJ Barrett's season. The only starter in the Eastern Conference to play all 72 games. Durability, availability is a very underrated aspect in sports because we always see these injuries. RJ Barrett started 72 straight games, and Julius Randle only missed 1. So our 2 top guns, durable. And Tom Thibodeau's known to be a guy that overworks his players. Randle led the league in minutes. I think RJ was second, if not third in minutes, and they did not miss any games. The only time Randle missed a game is because Elfrid Payton need him in the leg. So you got to give credit to those 2 guys because the old school way of putting out a lot of minutes, it's not today's NBA with the load management era. It's a completely different culture they're brewing here. And everyone would think, oh, the Knicks are going to be burnt out. They're going to be injured. Now look at us. We're 100% healthy. We have a week off until playoffs, and we're going up against the Atlanta Hawks. Like, are you kidding me? So let's get into this Atlanta Hawks series preview because this is going to be dope. I think every single Knicks fan can agree this is the exact opponent we wanted to see instead of the Miami Heat, instead of the Milwaukee Bucks. Not saying that Atlanta Hawks are not a good team. They have a lot of talent. Trae Young is going to be a really pest to deal with. Clint Capella down low on the boards. They got a lot of shooters as well. But I just feel like we match up the best against the Atlanta Hawks. Julius Randle averaged 37 damn points against them this year in the 3 games. We went 3-0 against them. You can't look at that because it means nothing come playoff time. But I'm so happy that this Knicks team got home court advantage against the Atlanta Hawks. So, CK, what's your expectations? And give your overall preview about what the Knicks should really hone in on against this Atlanta Hawks team.
Yeah, compared to how we talked about the season for the Knicks this year and how we were playing being a little skeptical, I'm gonna be completely honest, and everything you said was completely true. No disrespect to the Hawks, and I think that the Hawks are a great team. But if you want me to be completely honest with you, and I'll say it here with full and utter confidence in my Terry bag, I feel very confident about this series. I really feel like we can come out of this series and we can cut this. We can shut this one down rather early. It's not going to be a sweep because at the end of the day, this is still the first time for a lot of these players to be making the playoffs, but also their best player on their team, this is his first time being in the playoffs too. So I really feel like and we have a lot of vets in Taj and Derrick Rose, guys that have done this before, right? All kinds of guys down the list that have done this before, and I feel like that's something that we can use to our advantage. But the big things I'm looking at in the Knicks, before I even talk about the Hawks, is what we just witnessed in those last two games in the Spurs and in the Celtics. Is we need to go out there and kill, and we need to, in the words of David Fizdale, you gotta keep what you kill. You know what I'm talking about? We go out there, and in a different instance, but the same thing. We go out there, and when we have these leads and we play a great game from the jump, we can never let these guys come back in. We can never get comfortable, and we can never settle with what we got. We've done that one too many times this season. We've also done the other way around, where we come out slow and then play hero basketball for the rest of the game, and then all of a sudden it's a tie game. We're going to overtime, or we steal wins. We need to go out there and we need to play the right way from minute 1 to minute 48, and that's one of the big things I'm sure Tom Thibodeau is punching in their head. That's why I think it was good timing for that Spurs and that Celtics game, because I'm sure he is showing the film on how both the Spurs and the Celtics came back over and over and over again. So that's one of the big things I'm worried about. And the other biggest thing I'm worried about in this series is rebounding, because Clint Capella is a beast. Clint Capella is probably the guy I'm the most worried about on this team. Trae Young's going to do what Trae Young does, or he might not, because it's his first time in the playoffs. But Clint Capella is the guy that I'm the most worried about, because as great as Nerlens Noel has been, Clint Capella is a different beast, and he's just everywhere. He's done such a good job this year at getting Trae Young open off the screen. He's done such a good job offensively and defensively on the boards. He's all over the place. He gobbles them up. It's like his wingspan is like 10 feet long. He's the guy that I'm a little bit the most worried about, him and Bogdanovic. I think those are the guys that we need to key in on. And last thing I want to say before I want to hear what you got to say about this, the last point I want to make on top of what I just mentioned with Clint Capella and Bogdanovic, I hope, and you know what, this is probably going to stay with me until this kid is no longer on this New York Knicks team. I'm hoping and praying, especially with the way he closed out this season, I'm hoping and praying that we get some Frank Ntilikina minutes, because I really feel like Frank Ntilikina in this series, in a series of matchups where I feel like we have the better matchup with this team from top to bottom. I feel like Frank Ntilikina, his value on the court will show way more now than it has in any of those 4 years, because his assignment would be strictly only follow Trae Young wherever he goes. And the reason why that's important is because then we don't ever have to bring in an extra body to double team him in any situation. You just put Frank Ntilikina out there, do what you do, Frank, and play defense. And guess what? We talk about all these 40% shooters from three. Frank Ntilikina ain't no scrub from the three-point line in the games he's played. Exactly. So he can do that and then be a spot up and do what he has to do. But I really, 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 really hope. I know that's Frank, and I know how this team works, and I know that the rotations are going to drop down, but I'm really hoping that Frank Ntilikina gets some sort of minutes in this series, because I really feel like that would be a huge help for us defensively in guarding a guy like Trae Young in this series. So those are the 3 keys that I'm looking at in this game. 4 keys, I guess. Rebounding, staying hungry the entire game, the others in Clint Capella and Bogdanovic, and give the boy Frankie a chance to play the defense that we know he can give us. Those are my keys for this series.
Yeah, man, you bring up such a great point. And the biggest, controversy with the Knicks right now is Elfrid Payton. I think that he has been struggling as of late, but we're still winning, and it's crazy. He's the starter.
It is crazy.
He's the starter, and I've noticed his minutes. It's very consistent. He starts the game off. He plays for 6 minutes. He's benched for the rest of the first half. And then he comes in, starts the third quarter, plays for the first 6 minutes. He's done for the rest of the game. And that's a total of 12 minutes. That's been the consistent minutes of Elfrid Payton. But the problem is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we have not been getting off to good starts as of late, because Elfrid Payton is the one that starts the game. In playoffs, you need to be able to get a lead from the jump. You need to set the tone early. And that's my biggest problem of Elfrid Payton starting. Some people can say it's not about who starts, it's about who finishes, and that's true. But playoffs is a different animal. You need to be playing at a high level from start to finish, all 48 minutes, and that's been a problem for the Knicks. And I'm not saying Elfrid Payton has been a problem for the Knicks because we've been winning ball games, but I would love for Frank to get minutes over him, because Frank, what Tom Thibodeau loves about Elfrid Payton, what he says in his own words, he puts pressure on the rim. He's a good defender. Well, Frank, he doesn't put pressure on the rim because he's just not someone that penetrates the paint like Elfrid does, but he's a better defender. He is way more better in size. He can size up with Trae Young, I think, better defensively than Elfrid, and he can shoot the ball. He spaces the floor. So I don't see any excuse why they don't put Frank out there instead of Elfrid. And Frank does not have to run the point either. He plays off ball. He can come off the bench and say Alec Burks is out there. He could run the point. So that's going to be really interesting to see what the rotations are. It's a really going to be a topic of conversation for the entire week. And you bring up another big point of the rebounding. I think that's my biggest concern for this team in general. We are so good at defense. We're actually, this is another stat, we are the first team to be in first place in opponents' field goal percentage, opponents' points per game, and opponents' three-point percentage. Only the second team in NBA history to do that. And the other NBA team was the New York Knicks in 1992. So we're getting back to our old ways, and we're playing excellent basketball. We got a donation real quick from V-Man. What's good, V-Man? I always appreciate your support, man. Historically speaking, the Knicks are 8-1 against the Hawks in the playoffs with 2 series wins. My bet, the Knicks win and the Hawks will choke at 28-3. All right, V-Man, I see you, man. I see it. V-Man, I always appreciate your donations. You are one of my biggest supporters here on YouTube. V-Man, I appreciate you as always, brother.
I appreciate you, man.
But getting back to the rebounding, that's my biggest concern. And I just want to get your quick little stance on this. How about Mitchell Robinson putting on 30 pounds of muscle? And where's he at? I don't know if you have an injury report to report. I know that we're all in this together where we don't know what the hell's going on with Mitchell Robinson. Do you expect him to return in the playoffs? And what's your thoughts on Mitch putting up muscle? He's 272 now.
I love it. I'm so happy about it. I just want to see how it translates to the court because that's the one thing that everybody's been hoping and praying for him. And you can even see that this season he was looking a little bit more big as the season was going on. So seeing that, and then I want to see how it's going to look when he's now 272. It's going to be absolutely insane. As far as any reports or anything like that, everybody I talk to or anybody I know, it's about the same. I think we heard Tom Thibodeau talk about it at the end of last week, saying that he's progressing well, but he still wants to see him do 5-on-5s and more contact and stuff like that. So Tibbs said it himself. He said that a return in the playoffs is not out of the cards. But to be honest with you, I'm just focusing on who we have on the court right now. I'm hoping and praying that, if we do end up making to the second round, that maybe there is some sort of way that he's there when we play a team that's probably going to be looking like the Philadelphia 76ers, unless there's some kind of crazy upset by who I think is going to be the Hornets. I think the Hornets can win that playing game and get the 8th seed. I don't know how the whole playing looks like right now. We'll see how this week goes. But I think it's going to be us against the Sixers in the second round if everything goes right. And that would definitely be the series where we'll need a guy like Mitchell Robinson. It's a hell of a way to come back to the NBA after missing a long period of time. But it'd be nice to have some help there because that's definitely what we would need there against Joel Embiid. But as of right now, I got nothing new. I know as much as you know, bro.
And it's unfortunate because, obviously we love the revelation, the resurgence of Nerlens Noel filling in for Mitch and Taj. Mm-hmm. But thinking about what Mitch would be doing this season if he was healthy, I think he would have a breakout year. I really felt like if Mitch was healthy all season, he would be having so much success under this system, protecting the rim, high flyer, catching alley-oops, just being an absolute menace. And I always said Mitchell Robinson is all he needs to do to become dominant is to put on weight and to put on muscle.
Yes.
Because he was just a long, lanky guy. That's what Nerlens is, but Nerlens' body frame, he can't really put on muscle for some reason. I don't know. He's a weird
he's been in the league for a while, and he's been the exact same since Kentucky. I don't know what's going on over there, bro.
So Mitch, if he comes back, he becomes the next coming of Shaquille O'Neal. I'm just kidding, but still, man. Don't count on Mitchell Robinson for the future. I know that it's unfortunate that he had really fluky injuries, and some people don't even think he's going to be on the Knicks next year for whatever reason. Don't count him out. I think the Knicks should re-sign Nerlens, and they should keep Mitch, and that should be our 2 big men, and re-sign Taj, and that will be
Taj, man.
I'm okay with that.
Even if you don't play, let him be on that bench for sure.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that,
So I actually want to ask you this question. So you could pick so many different players, and everybody in the chat, you guys can answer this question as well. Who is the unsung hero for the Knicks in the regular season? There's so many. I mean, you
always kill me with one of these questions every time I come on here, Rich. Every time. Because this is hard.
You can't be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. There is no wrong answer to this one, but Man, from the first time we were on here, I talked about Nerlens Noel being my favorite pickup of the offseason, and I'm so glad he panned out because there was the first few games where people were just worried about his paddle hands and all that stuff, but he definitely turned out to be the guy that I was expecting to be. But man, the unsung hero on this team, and you're right, there's so many right answers. God, but you know what? I'm going to keep it simple for myself. I'm not going to try to be too poetic or anything like that. I got to go with the guy who believed in us before he even had our jersey on, before he was even traded to us. And I'm going with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose has just been the guy that has been tremendously huge for this team. Derrick Rose said to Dwayne Casey that he wants to go to a team where he has a shot at winning in the playoffs. And at that time, we were playing better, but we weren't even sure if we were that team to, fourth seed at the time. But Derrick Rose saw it, and he believed in what was going on. And since he's been here, he's been a huge, huge, huge part of this team. And, there was moments where, it was looking like he probably can't play more than 20, 25 minutes. And then the whole COVID situation happened, and he looked even more winded. But then out of nowhere in the last month, he just went crazy. Looked like old school Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose, where he was playing these 32, 35-minute games and was phenomenal all the way through. And he's been a huge part to why we are the fourth seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So Derrick Rose, maybe it's not unsung, but he's definitely my hero for this team that's not named RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. Derrick Rose has been phenomenal, and I have to give him his flowers, no pun intended.
Absolutely, man. And he's I don't know the exact record, but we are way over 500 whenever Derrick Rose plays for the New York Knicks, and that's a great player.
Yeah.
My unsung hero, and again, you can bring up so many. Nerlens Noel is someone that I want to bring up, but he's not my unsung hero, even though we would have lost that game. We wouldn't have lost, but he's a big reason why we beat the Celtics yesterday. Nerlens Noel with those 2 blocks in the clutch. Are you going in the paint? Right. He just absolutely swallows you. So shout out to Nerlens, the Nerlens wall. But my unsung hero is Reggie Bullock. And the reason is he is absolutely incredible at 2 super important aspects to today's NBA, and that's three-point shooting and perimeter defense. The 3-and-D guy is so important to have on a championship contending team. I guarantee any team that's going for the chip would love to have a player like Reggie on their squad, because all he does is spots up from 3 and locks you down. Yeah. And he hits at a high level. Do you know his 3-point percentage?
What is it? Do you have it? Do you have it off the top of your head? Or
I don't.
Are you looking for me? Oh, I can get it. Don't even bother. I can get it.
I'm gonna guess 41% from 3.
41%. I like that. I'm gonna go with a nice, comfortable 40. Give me 1 second. I'm on it here. I'm on it. For this season, our boy Reggie Bullock was shooting. Oh, I was like, what? Yeah, 41%. 41%.
41%. There you go. I mean, listen, this guy is so valuable. He is the guy that Thibodeau says you are following their best player for the whole game. You're our best perimeter defender. You're going to be locking them down. You're going to be the anchor of the defense on the perimeter. We know Nerlens is the anchor of the defense in the paint. So it's really important to have that, and especially in a system with Tom Thibodeau, you need to have the leader of the 2 aspects of the game on defense, and that's perimeter and the paint. And you saw the defensive numbers. We're the first team since the Knicks in the 90s to be in first place in 3 defensive categories. That's ridiculous. I don't think that's said enough, that how great this Knicks defense really is. That's what's going to keep us in these games. And that's why I think we're going to win the series, is because the Atlanta Hawks are an offensive-minded teams. The Knicks are a defensive-minded teams. Defense wins championships. That's right. So Reggie Bullock is my unsung hero, because the value of him just spotting up from 3, he always goes off in the first quarter. I would love to see Reggie get more threes throughout the game. I feel like he just lights it up in the first, and sometimes he just takes a back seat. But he's been such an important role of this team. Alec Burks is someone you also got to bring up. His ability to come off the bench and just light it up here and there is incredible. It was just a lot. You can really name a lot of unsung heroes. So
there's no wrong answer, like you said. There's really no wrong answer to this. There's no wrong answer. You can make an argument for everybody on that team for sure.
Absolutely, man. And
well, I'm gonna leave it alone. Go ahead. Yeah, continue.
Are you sure?
Yeah, continue. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna bring it down. I was talking about it, but leave it alone. We'll leave it alone.
Right. Yeah, we don't know who that is. But something that just popped in my head that I don't even have listed here that I want to get your thoughts on is the Knicks rookies and your thoughts on how they performed as rookies. We know Emmanuel Quickley was the revelation, the guy that's the steal of the draft, somebody that nobody expected to be this great. But I don't know about you, but I saw really good things from Obi Toppin in the past 3 weeks. And is he putting up numbers, stats? No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. What I saw from Obi Toppin in the last stretch of the season is confidence, his ability to shoot the ball in rhythm, not get the ball in his hands and it's a hot potato, like, all right, you take it. I don't want to do anything. He actually is putting in effort on the defensive end. He's crashing the boards. He's not lighting it up. And he's not somewhere, I'm not saying he's going to be doing this in the playoffs, but he's showing me flashes of potential where he can go crazy in the offseason. And you never know what could happen. We saw RJ take a huge step from year 1 to year 2. We saw Randall take a huge step. I mean, that's in year 7. So give your overall assessment on Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin as their rookie season is just wrapped up.
Yeah, let me start with our 8th overall pick, Obi Toppin. Yeah, to say that this season was a disappointment, I can't co-sign that. I think Obi Toppin did a good job at dealing with the cards that were handed to him. I mean, nobody, I'll say it again, nobody saw Julius Randle to come out and be this NBA All-Star / superstar of this season the way he was. So for him to have such a tough role in backing him up, you can see that was something that he was learning as the season was going on. Because to start off, it was looking like Obi just was really stiff. He wasn't doing a lot of the things that he did so well at Dayton the year prior. But then, just like a lot of these young guys that we mentioned in this same live, his season continued. You just said it, his season continued to get better and better and better, regardless of what his stats look like, even though some nights he had some good stats. But to see this kid who's only playing, I think he only averaged 11 minutes this season, he shot 50% from the field. I think it was exactly like 449, like 0.8 or some BS like that. But he shot 50% for the season. And, the 3-point ball was starting to hit a little bit later as the season was going on. He was hitting those spot-up shots. You could tell that the work that he's putting in off the cameras was really it was proving to work. So I have no concern about Obi Toppin at all. And here's the biggest reason why I have no concern about Obi Toppin before I talk about Emmanuel Quickley. The one flaw that a lot of people were worried about, and I even mentioned it in my video about him being so excited about everything else, but the one thing that I was really sure was going to translate to the NBA, and it really proved to, was this guy is way better on the block defensively than anyone was expecting. Everyone thought that he was going to be a liability defensively. He was not going to be. He is proving that he, at some point in his career, can be a solid rim protector, solid a defender in the post. And I feel like, perimeter, he still has some work to do, which is why I'm not a fan of him playing the 3. But at least in the post, in the block, he has shown a lot of control. He's really good at chasing the rebound. And that is in such a small little sample size that he's shown us all season long that, like I said, I am not worried about the kid anymore. There was some moments, but no, I'm not worried about him at all. He had a rough situation in being the backup to Julius Randle. I think he did a good job. So Obi Toppin, it's not quite what we expected, but at the same time, it's going to be fun to see how he develops with the New York Knicks in the next few years. Emmanuel Quickley, did not see that coming. Emmanuel Quickley, I mean, the one thing that we knew was going to be there was him shooting the damn basketball. But a lot of the time, shooters in college don't ever really translate to the NBA right away. Emmanuel Quickley looks like he took a season off from Kentucky and he's playing another season with Kentucky because you couldn't tell. And the best part about Emmanuel Quickley, and the best is shout out to Tom Thibodeau, because this is how you know that he is adapting to the times. Emmanuel Quickley has the green light, and I'm absolutely perfectly fine with that. I'm so glad that this guy can pull up from the logo 1 or 2 times a game, because more times than not, I don't have the stat in front of me. I hope someone in the chat can probably find it. More times than not, he gonna hit that logo 3 because he has that kind of range. Tom Thibodeau has expressed so much confidence in his shooting, and that is what a player like him that the Knicks have been needing for years, a knockdown shooter at the guard position. We've been begging and praying for a shooter. Like we'll go after these guys who will kill us on other teams and then come here and then just completely fall in the lights, in the New York bright lights, Madison Square Garden lights, and they just don't look like the same player that they were when they play against us. And Emmanuel Quickley, as a rookie, has shown that he is already that spot up, crazy 3-point shooter. And, there's a lot to be developed in his game. I want to see more of a mid-range game and stuff like that. But for what he's given us this season, he's been tremendous. There was a point in the season where he was number 3 in Rookie of the Year conversation. I don't know where he's at right now. He's probably not there. But there's so much that could be said about Emmanuel Quickley that I don't know if we have enough time to say about it. So I'm really excited about him, and I think that he's going to be a great piece for us long term as well.
I agree, man. Everything you said, I agree on. I love that Thibodeau gives him the green light to pull up from the logo.
Great.
I will say the last time he did that, I think that was against the Hornets. He was red hot in the second quarter, and he pulled up from the logo, and he missed it. And I saw Tibbs with his arms up like this.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing so hard because I know Tibbs like allows him to do that, but there he's probably like, all right, come on, bro. And then he benched him. So
I'm about to say, but that's the thing though, because he knew he was going to the bench. Because what's there? Who came in? It was Derrick Rose, I think, that walked up and he eventually subbed in for Emmanuel quickly. So it was one of those like, oh, I'm about to come out. All right, let me get this.
Yeah, exactly. I love that he has the confidence to do that for a rookie. Do you know what it takes to be able to shoot that ball from that deep with confidence? Man. It's not easy, especially in the New York Knicks media, because if you are shooting it from there and airballing and missing it, you're going to get absolutely roasted from fans, from the media, from coaches, from your own players. So for IQ to actually, I wish we can get a percentage of his like logo shots, because I think it might be like above 40 or 50%. He only shot him like 5 or 6 times, but I think he's nailed a bunch of them. And it's just crazy for a rookie to be able to have the confidence to create his own shot off the dribble, the step back threes, the side back, whatever you want to call it, side step back 3-pointers, the little floater over the hand, over the players, even the scoop layup. I mean, he's getting a lot of different packages, and he has the work ethic that I think he's going to get better and better. And just imagine what he's going to be doing when he's a seasoned vet. Like, he plays like he's a veteran. Like, this is what tells you. When you see a rookie with this much confidence, that gives you so much confidence in him to become a great player in the future. And that's why RJ Barrett, CK, and I believe that he is going to be a great player simply because of the confidence he has for the age he's playing at, the mentality, everything about it. So Emmanuel Quickley, absolute stud, steal of the draft. Obi Toppin, I feel like he is going to shock a lot of people. I'm totally okay with Obi being the long-term backup for Randall. Like, if we give Randall the max contract this offseason, which I think we will, I'm okay with Obi Toppin coming off the bench and providing depth behind Randall. I think that Obi's going to be learning from behind Randall for a long time. And Randall's going to be that leader for him. He's going to teach him a lot of ways of shooting and form and confidence and dealing with the city like he already has been. So shout out to Obi, shout out to IQ, our 2 rooks. I feel like they did a great job in their first season with the New York Knicks, because it's not easy being a rookie. There's a lot of lottery picks, a lot of first-round picks that has failed for the New York Knicks in recent memory, and it's unfortunate. You know, Kevin Knox is a player that I wish can get more minutes, but he's someone that it's not looking good. He hasn't cracked the rotation. Frank, we're hoping that he can finally get minutes, and we're hoping he can just get there, but I think he might. I really do think Frank will get minutes in this playoff series, but we'll see, man. It's just refreshing to have rookies. And we got a quick dono from Minty Sports. Could you both check DM for Matty Ice? From Matty Ice. Yeah, I got you, Minty Sports.
Matty Ice, though. Look, man, I'm a Saints fan. I don't go too kindly with that nickname, Matty Ice. There's a quarterback in the South
ATL,
that got this
baby.
Name, man. No, I got you, bro.
I got you, Minty Sports. I got you, bro. Appreciate the dono, man. But, man, it's a great time to be a Knicks fan, because right now the New York Knicks are the 4th seed in the East, and we are going to the playoffs. Guys, if you're enjoying this stream, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. We got around 76 likes. Let's see if we can get this over 100 likes if you guys are excited for the New York Knicks to be back in the playoffs in 8 damn years. 8 years, guys. And again, if you're not subscribed to CK, that is down below in the description. We got a lot of things to talk about before we end the stream. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I started this channel the night we drafted Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley, ironically enough. And I'm so thankful that I'm part of this Knicks community so fast. I've been a Knicks fan my entire life. I remember the last time we were in the playoffs, I was so young that I was hysterically crying when we lost and got eliminated in round 2. So we've all been through the pains, but hey, guys, we here. We are here.
Tell them.
Like, it's just so insane. It still boggles my mind that we're talking about the New York Knicks as the 4th seed in the East. Well, does that really make sense to you? Because I'm still trying to make it my reality.
Yeah, it hasn't connected. I mean, I recorded, I edited, and I'm about to post a whole video, and it still hasn't clicked. Like, yo, we're talking about a first round play, and we could possibly go to the second round. Like, yeah, this is surreal. It's surreal. It
really is. So I want to talk about the not expectation, but your overall thoughts of what this new New York Knicks regime has done in year 1. Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and Scott Perry is someone I think deserves a lot of credit, because he's the one that signed Julius Randle. He's the one that drafted RJ Barrett. He's the one that really kind of started changing the mindset of the front office before anybody else came in. Like he was hired as a GM under Steve Mills, and he was handing out 1-year deals. He was not giving up big contracts like we're used to, like Steve Mills did back in time. And I got to give Scott Perry a lot of credit, and I'm happy they retained him. I'm happy he's part of the new regime because he has, whenever we hired him, I listened to him speak. And, I always get, lost in, oh, he's going to be great. I'm like, get blinded by, please be good. I'm just hopeful. But Scott Perry was a different story. I feel like he handed out good contracts because he was building for the future. And that's what this Knicks team has been lacking of. Mm-hmm. They've been lacking that long-term vision. They're trying to win now. But Scott Perry, when he came here, he was patient with his team. And then we fire Steve Mills, bring out Leon Rose. So give your overall thoughts on how you think Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Scott Perry, and the guys assembled this team to get to the playoffs, and also bring up the trade deadline, because we kept this team together, because that was a big thing. Trade deadline, who we trade for? We don't make any moves. They kept the squad together, and we are the 4th seed. So just go off on your impressions on the Knicks front office.
Yeah, I want to continue what you said about Scott Perry real quick before I talk about the rest of them, because I've taken a lot of hits for defending Scott Perry throughout the entire his tenure as our GM, not president, because like you said, he's the first one that came in here and understood what really needed to go on with this team. We needed to get out of the mindset of we are the New York Knicks. We deserve this. We should have this. This should be this. This should be that. He came in here and said we need to adopt that small market mindset and let the thing grow from within, because that's the only way we're going to get to that point of the New York Knicks that have players that want to take on that I want to say that challenge of playing for the New York Knicks. And and look what's happened. I feel like he's gotten so much ridicule because of one signing. He got killed for one signing compared to all these other great moves that he's made, because he signed Elfrid Payton, and because he went after Elfrid Payton 2 years in a row. People are killing him and thinking that he's the worst because of that. But let's also be real. He's the one that got us Julius Randle. He's the one that found us Mitchell Robinson. He's done a lot of great things for this team and helped us out financially. And then now having a guy like Brock Aller to come and help him out with that even more so. And now being the lowest, it's just so many things. The fact that we are the lowest paid, like our team has the lowest salary of any team in the league.
That's
house
ridiculous.
Money. And it's absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, Scott Perry deserves a lot of credit, and I feel like I'm glad to hear you give the credit as well. But yeah, to be real, I was very open with how I felt about the signings, and I was excited from the jump. I really thought that the Knicks, following that mantra of going with an ex-agent as the president and the overseer of the team, I think that's just the vibe. I think that's just what's working in today's NBA. The connections are everything in the NBA today. Unfortunately, this isn't the era of players wanting to stay, except for Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. I heard what you guys said, but unfortunately, we're not in the era where players want to stay with one team long term anymore. Players want to go where the championships are coming, like where they can have the best shot at getting a championship. So who best to run your team than somebody who has a lot of cards on the Rolodex, a lot of names on the Rolodex, and represented a lot of key players. And then on top of that, bringing a guy that's buddy with current players and retired players to also help you put on the pitch. And I'm talking about Worldwide West. Yeah. So that was, to me, I was very excited about that gamble. I thought it was a very good move. And then on top of that, we're bringing in guys to do specific jobs, a guy to scout, a guy to handle the books, a guy to worry about. That was something that we have not done ever, at least in my lifetime watching the New York Knicks, because we had Steve Mills doing everything and maybe with one other guy. No, we got select guys that were really good at what they did at their teams, stole them, paid them a little bit extra cheese, and brought them to the Knicks, and it's been working out for us tremendously from the top, from front office to this coaching staff. Johnny Bryant being the Donovan Mitchell, and also Damian Lillard whisperer coming over to this team and helping guys like RJ Barrett and our younger guards out. Kenny Payne, who's been prominent for a lot of these key Kentucky forwards that we know in the NBA. Most of them we got on the Knicks right now. He's been responsible for a lot of those guys. And to bring him on the rotation. And then Mike Whitson, who was the last Knicks coach to bring this team to the NBA playoffs. It's just the hires made so much sense each and every time a name was coming out. I don't know about you, Richie, but I've never been excited about who we're hiring upstairs as much as excited for who we're hiring upstairs as the players that we were bringing in the offseason, because we just kept bringing in names and then seeing the report of what they did in the past. Like it was great. So to see it, to see all the excitement, to bring in the front office that we had, the coaching staff that we had, and then for all of it to accumulate into us being the 4th seed in the NBA playoffs, like it's great, man. It's just tremendous. And it's just really, really good to see that the work is paying off. And this is just the beginning. It's not, this is a one-off. This ain't the season finale. This is the first season of many to come where we can continue this trajectory. So I'm excited about it. I'm really happy that it's working out.
Exactly. And I want to ask you one more question on this topic. Do you think that Dolan deserves some credit for this? Because obviously Dolan has been a nightmare for the Knicks for a long time, and he's the reason why we're considered a dysfunctional franchise, the reason why nobody wants to come here because of whatever the issue is with the Garden, you know, Oakley, to this, to that. But Dolan's the one that hired Leon Rose. And the only respect that I give Dolan is he hired Leon Rose and he sat back. And he let Leon Rose take over. He did not get his hands involved. And he just let Leon Rose take the job. And that's also been Dolan's problem, is he's hiring the wrong people. Hiring Phil Jackson, hiring Mills. That's why we've been dysfunctional. So Dolan hired Leon Rose. Without Leon Rose, we're not here. Without Leon Rose, there's no Thibodeau. You know, the top of the food chain starts with the ownership. So what's your stance on Dolan as an owner? Because I know majority of Knicks fans, including myself, can't stand him. But do you think he deserves some credit for the turnaround?
Oh boy, Richie, I've worked under a lot of companies where the people upstairs blatantly showed that they knew absolutely nothing about what goes on in the field. They just, sign checks and then try and fiddle with it, and it never works out. But I've also worked in places where they turn it around, and then I watched the places that I worked for thrive. That being said, I feel like James Dolan did exactly that. You put it perfectly. He's been a guy that always, ever since he took over the team at the beginning of ever since he took over the team, he always thought that he could be that owner, that Mark Cuban, that knew something about the sport and, could put his stamp on everything that's going on within within basketball. And for whatever reason, he just did that with us, because he let the Rangers do what the Rangers did. He would hire the right people and let them do the job. And that's why the Rangers had a lot more success. I don't even watch hockey, but that's what it was. And when I found out that people were like, yo, he does things completely different with the Rangers than he does with the Knicks. So this year, I think, it took a lot out of him to understand that, all right, I'm just going to put a team to handle everything, like I just mentioned, in the front office and whatnot, and I'm just going to sign the papers and then sit back and watch everything else work out the way it was. I think that is a huge, huge, huge move for James Dolan, so I have to give him credit for that, because it's not easy. He's a guy that for all these years, for 21, 22, 23? Oh, God, I think it's about 23 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Thinking that he is the guy that when the Knicks get credit and the Knicks do well, it's going to be because of James Dolan. He thought that was the way it was going to go. And for him to finally step back and let, other people take the shine, the Leon Roses, the World Wide West, so on and so forth, that's huge for him. So you got to give him credit, man. I don't care how you might feel about him. You don't have to like the person you work for. If they're making sure that they're doing the right thing for, your company, your business, your team, you got to give him credit for that. And it's huge, because a lot of ego is a big thing. And you could tell that James Dolan had a big ego, and he put that aside to let the people do what they do. And it's been working so far. So, yeah, I got to give James Dolan some credit.
Yeah, man. He starts all the way up top. And it's funny because I'm not a big hockey fan, but I know what's going on with the Rangers and Dolan. And you mentioned the Rangers have been good for recent memory. And we're always like, yo, why are the Rangers good and the Knicks are terrible under Dolan? Well, it flipped. I don't know if you're aware.
That's what I heard.
Dolan
That's exactly
fired
what I heard.
literally everybody for the Rangers. And all my friends that are diehard Rangers fans, they're like, what is Dolan doing? Why did they just fire my favorite coach? Why did they fire my favorite president? And it's like Ranger fans are freaking out on Dolan while Knicks fans are up top. We're like, hey, this is what it's like to be on the side of this. Like, wait, we're not on the toxic side of yelling from the bottom. Like, Dolan, what are you doing? Like, wow. Can we just appreciate that for a sec? But guys, it was just, I had to bring that up. And shout out to any Rangers fans in the chat. Hopefully you guys get back to right. I'm not a hockey fan at all, but
same.
Another thing I want to talk about, which is a huge reason why we are here today, is Tommy Thibodeau. So this man came here as the New York Knicks head coach,
Mm-hmm.
he brings the team to the 4th seed in the East. First of all, he should be coach of the year. Will he win it? Probably not, just because I know the Knicks luck. But man, this man is something else. The ability to establish a culture and identity in year one is unmatched. I said before the season started, the success of this season, if I at the end of the year, the way I'm looking at the success, it's not by wins, it's not by losses, it's not by playoffs. It's about, can Tom Thibodeau establish an identity, establish that this is the right move, this is the right coach, this is the right leader of men. Yeah. And he did that beyond comprehension. He turned a Knicks team that was bottom 3 in every single defensive category, and he puts them in 1st place in every defensive category besides defensive rating. I mentioned it earlier in the stream. 1st place in 3 physical defensive categories that only one other team in history has done it, and that's the 90s Knicks. So Tom Thibodeau, he's given the freedom, and he's adapted to today's NBA. That's another thing that people said Tom Thibodeau is never going to work because he's more old school. Yeah. And today's NBA is not in Tom Thibodeau's system, but the best coaches and the best players adapt to their environment around them. And that shows you got to give Tom Thibodeau credit because he understands that it's a new age of NBA. And I love how he holds all of his players accountable. He screams his head off at anybody, doesn't matter who it is. If RJ Barrett takes a play off and he gets beat backdoor, he will literally scream at RJ, and RJ will not take it personally. He goes on the court, drops 14 points in a row. Obi Toppin, same situation, messes up. He's yelling his head off. And that's the factor of the culture. The players understand they want to be coached. They're coachable. They don't take anything personal. And that is a branch of the coaching staff, a branch of Tom Thibodeau, where he tells them, if I'm hard on you, it's because I want you to play well. Like, it's not because you're not a bad player. So just go off on how much Tom Thibodeau has been an important role for the Knicks. Obviously, he should be in the race for Coach of the Year. And I'm just so happy that we've got this head coach, because if you go back memory lane, I'm not going to bring up the names, but we've been going through coaches. We've been waiting for it, man. And it was just incredible. So just go crazy on how awesome Tom Thibodeau has been in year one for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, man. It felt like we were renting coaches at some point because these coaches weren't even staying for a full season or whatever it was. But yeah, Tom Thibodeau has been great. I don't know what else I could say about this guy because, a lot of us were worried. A lot of us had other names that we were looking forward to. A lot of people were, on board the Kenny Atkinson trade. I was definitely one of them. And just like with Chris Paul, I think I was a little bit skeptical of Tom Thibodeau just because of, can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of mindset. And you saw how he ended things with Minnesota. But, you had to remember that he was not only just the coach, he was also running things upstairs so it was just a whole different Tom Thibodeau that you were getting in Minnesota than you got in Chicago and blah, blah, blah. But I love what you said. Not only did he come to this team and completely flip the entire atmosphere on its head. He came in here and you could tell that he's also trying to adapt and understand these players, knowing that he has a young group. He's trying to undo the mistakes that he did with Minnesota, where he didn't really connect with guys like Andrew Wiggins. And I wouldn't say Cat, because I feel like he did a good job with Cat, but they had a lot of younger guys on that team where he really gave them a chance, but he didn't give them enough chances. He didn't connect with them. And then he ultimately brought in all of his ex-Bulls guys and made sure he got Jimmy Butler and this, that, and third, and let Jimmy, you know the story. For those who know, the story about Tom Thibodeau in Minnesota. And I feel like he did such a better job with adapting to how the NBA is in 2021. And, like we said, giving a rookie a green light the way he has. And, Emmanuel quickly has only rewarded him by playing good basketball, so it's just there's so many things about Tom Thibodeau that I have a lot of respect for. We could talk about the rotations, whatever negatives you may have had about him. But all in all, overall, Tom Thibodeau has been huge for us this season. And it goes from him all the way down from his coaching staff as well. They worked in unity. He brought a few of his guys in, but also welcomed Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, Mike Woodson, along, to be in his ear and tell him when he's wrong about stuff. And he's openly admit that this is one of the first years where he's listening to the assistant coaches' opinions on things like that and taking them into account and putting them on to the court. And it's been working. So a lot of adapting for Tom Thibodeau this year, and I think it's resulting in hopefully him getting Coach of the Year this year. I think it's going to be tight. As much as the story is great and how great it's this season's been for us, I still think it's going to be tight because you can't count out what I almost said Quinn Cook, what Quinn Snyder did over for Utah and for what Monty Williams is doing with the Phoenix Suns in 1 year too. So it's going to be a tight race, but I really ultimately believe that the Coach of the Year should definitely go to Tom Thibodeau, hands down.
100%, man. He literally took a team that has similar roster from last year. The only additions is the 2 rookies. Obviously, Derrick Rose midway through the season, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, and Austin Rivers, who got shipped off. Other than that, Elfrid Payton, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, all these guys are the same. So that just shows you the impact of coaching in this league. And a lot of people overshadow that you need to have somebody that can hold his players accountable, has a system. And the best part about Thibodeau is that what he's brought to this organization that this Knicks team has lacked for a decade plus, or ever since Mike Woodson, rather. They're playing as one on both sides of the ball. They have great ball movement. Sometimes they get stagnant on offense, obviously, and it drives us crazy when they go ISO ball late in the game. But majority of the time, they play together, especially on the defensive end. That's consistent. The defense is always there, 48 minutes. At times, we give up, like against the Spurs, they hit 13 straight shots in the third quarter, and I don't know what I was watching, but those flukes is going to happen. That's the game of basketball. They're going to, we were playing top-tier talent. There's going to be some times where the defense is not perfect, but in order to be successful in this league, you need to, especially basketball. Basketball is such a team sport. If you can play on a thread on the both sides of the ball, you're going to be putting your team in the best situations to succeed. And that's just a perfect shadow and example of the coaching staff and Thibodeau to bring in the system. It's just so insane how he got the most out of a guy like RJ Barrett entering year 2. Guy like Julius Randle. I mean, I feel like half the credit goes to Tibbs. The other half goes to Randle himself for his turnaround, because Randle put in ridiculous work. As we know, he got into crazy shape. His mentality is there. He showed up to camp. Well, right when Thibodeau got hired, he showed up to the training facility, and Thibodeau noticed a different player right out of the gate. He saw him shooting threes. He's like, oh, wait, this guy looks different. So shout out to Randle for putting in that work in the offseason. But Thibodeau just deserves endless credit. He's the unsung hero of the squad, honestly. Some people forget how much important a coaching staff and a head coach really means to a team, and he's a leader. And I feel like continuity at the head coaching position is important. He signed a 5-year deal, so I think he's going to be here for the next 4 years minimum. And this is just the beginning of the new era, man. That's what I want to finish off the stream on, is that this is the beginning. This is not the end. So the last time we were in the playoffs was under Mike Woodson. That was a great run, 54 wins or something like that. Yeah. But that season felt a little different. Want to know why? We were the oldest team in the NBA. It felt like it was a fluke, or in a way like, oh, this is a special team. We got Jason Kidd. We got Melo. We got Tyson Chandler. We got Raymond Felton. All these guys that were awesome, Davis, guys that we will love. But we didn't think it had a long-term answer. This team is one of the youngest squads in the NBA. Our number 2 option is the youngest player on the team at 20 damn years old. We got Julius Randle, who is 26 years old, entering his prime. And we have the most cap space in the NBA. We have a crap ton of draft capital as well, 2 first-rounders this year. So this is just the beginning. So, CK, before I let you go, give your overall thoughts of the future. Well, but talk about the future and how well-positioned we are. I feel like if there's a superstar available for trade, we have every single piece of ammunition to go get that and become aggressive. Or we can hold on to our picks and build within. So what's your thoughts of, and how giddy do you get? How excited do you get thinking of the future for this New York Knicks squad?
I guess I get super excited because, like you mentioned, we're just I can't say it enough. We are in one of the biggest win-win situations ever. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it until this offseason is over. We the only thing that went wrong for us is we are not in the fight for the top 5 pick. That is literally the only thing that went wrong for us. And I'll take that because we still have 2 picks in this draft that is going to be very deep, and we could possibly turn all of our picks into a higher pick by flipping them into something higher. We have, like you just mentioned, the most cap space of any team in the NBA right now. But on top of that, with those 2 factors, those 2 major factors, The Knicks have a good infrastructure. We have a good team to present to anybody that you want to talk to in this very limited free agency pool, but in free agency pools for the future. This is how it starts. You build from within, and then the rest will follow. You don't want to try and buy yourself a team and hope that those parts work together. There's a lot of other teams that have tried to go that route, and though they'll be better in the regular season, that's as far as they go because they're trying to build and they're trying to fast forward the process, and it never works. The Knicks have tried it in the past, and it never works. So like you mentioned, we have our youth mixed in with veterans. I expect another season of something similar to that. I think, we already know who I want for the point guard, so I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to waste you guys' time with that. I saw that already. As soon as you mentioned the question, I saw the Lonzo Balls in the chat already. But, I just feel like we go for another year of, this trajectory of, bringing in possibly some more vets. You try and make that call for Kawhi Leonard, especially if things don't go well for the Clippers in the playoffs. You try and make that call, see what happens. If not, like I said, we trade up, get one solid draft pick rather than trying to get 4 different pieces because you just know Tom Thibodeau's not going to play 4 different rookies. We're in the perfect spot for the long term. If we want to go the route, and like you said, if these Damian Lillard rumors, if these fill in the blank rumors are true, if the Knicks want to go in and get that player, we have the capital to do that without blowing up this team for the first time in a long time, and we still have the money to then go do what else we want to do. The Knicks are in the perfect spot. And then on top of everything we just mentioned, our young guys, our future players that we hopefully keep long-term, and our hopeful star in Julius Randle, they get playoff experience. They see what it's like in the postseason. 20 years old, RJ Barrett, who has won basketball games and whatever at every level of his career from Canada on down. He now gets a taste of what it's like to be in the playoffs. And for a player with his kind of mentality, once he gets a taste, he's going to want to keep on getting a taste of what it is to be in the playoffs. So, and Julius Randle showing that same mentality, who's been a dog since he's been in the league. I think this is just tremendous for us all the way around. So you're right. This is just the beginning. Let's start a new era, and I'm very excited to see what's to come. But it starts with the playoffs, with us playing against the Atlanta Hawks. And I think it's going to go well for us.
Yeah, man, it does start with the playoffs. So last topic is, what's your expectations for the first playoff series? And if you want to give me a prediction, and this is another question where I'm putting you on the spot, how far are we going?
Oh boy, I can't. I hate this question. All right, well, okay. I'm gonna be both realistic and optimistic. So optimistic CK is saying that this first round is not going to be as difficult as we all think it might be. I know matchups, and they got this, that, and the third. They playing great under Nate McMillan, but I'm also banking on, as much as I love Nate McMillan, I'm also banking that we get the bad playoff version of Nate McMillan, because we know in the playoffs his regular season goodness tends to go away a little bit. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of that. And I think that hopefully this series ends in 5 or 6 games. But then back to being realistic, I think that we do go to the second round. We play the Philadelphia 76ers. I do think we challenge them a little bit. I think we give them 2 games, maybe 3, but I think ultimately we go as far as 2 rounds.
Yeah, I think the ceiling is, unfortunately, for the Knicks. The only way we come out of the second round is if we just have the craziest Cinderella stories ever. Mm-hmm. Because if we come out of the second round, then there's a chance that the Brooklyn Nets will be waiting there in the Eastern Conference Finals. Can you just imagine real quick?
That would be, oh my god.
Can we just put it into like our brains? And yeah. I know it's very unlikely, guys. I'm not saying it's happening.
I know.
But let's just think about for a second what the city of New York would be like with a 7-game series, not in the first round or the second round, in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And every game being a home game, Richie. Every game would be a home game.
That's true. Oh my God. I want to throw up thinking about it, man. Well, we got to get through the first round first. I think that this team has what it takes to beat the Atlanta Hawks. I love our matchups. I love the defensive prowess of the Knicks to get the job done. My only concerns about the Hawks is Clint Capella on the boards and Trae Young just knocking down crazy threes. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I think they can contain the shooters. Julius Randle averages 37 points per game against the Hawks. So that's something why I have confidence, because the reason why I wanted to avoid the Miami Heat and the Bucks is because their defenses match up well against us. Like,
especially the Heat. I'm sorry.
The Heat, I hate the Heat, but I give them a lot of respect.
Gotta give them credit.
I don't did not want to see him in the playoffs. And if there's any Heat fans like, oh, the Knicks are scared of us. Yeah, I am scared. I don't want to see you guys in the playoffs. You guys play a different type of defense, especially against RJ Barrett. For whatever reason, the Heat is his kryptonite. They blitz him off every single pick and roll. They don't give him any single space to do anything. Same thing with Julius Randle. But the Hawks, on the other hand, their defense is their weakness. And Julius Randle is going to take advantage of it. Randle had his best games of his career against them this season, and that's what gives me the confidence that Randle's going to have that dog mentality. He gets to show the world what he's been working on, his craft, his mentality, that Kobe mindset. He's first time he gets a taste of the playoffs. So this is only his first time. He's going to be back in the playoffs with the Knicks. Guys, I appreciate all the support here on Knicks Media. If you guys did not smash that like button, make sure you do so, and make sure you also subscribe to CK2K and, of course, myself. We will be live all throughout the week, giving you myself a preview to the Hawks. Going crazy. We're hyping it up. The first game, I think, is Sunday. Guys, we are in the damn playoffs. I still can't believe it. Let that sink in. Don't let any of the mainstream media or any of them, knock down this next season. It's a success no matter what happens in my eyes. I think that we exceed expectations. We establish an identity. We establish a culture. We have so much things lined up for us in the future. CK, anything else you want to say before I let you go about these crazy New York Knicks?
Look, I just enjoy it. Enjoy it. A lot of us, whether you are, young, whether you're old, whether you are new, I don't care what it is. Just enjoy this. We deserve to be here. I understand we're talking about, we've overachieved and this, and the third. Don't worry about none of that. We're here. We hear everyone saying we here. Okay. So enjoy it and have fun with it. And let's see how far we can go. Anything is possible. Don't let our predictions make you think that it's over. Anything can happen. Injuries, whatever the case may be, hot play, overplay, anything can happen. So enjoy the ride. I'm excited. We all should be excited. New York Knicks, baby. We here. Let's get it. I'm ready.
We here. We back. And I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs. We got one more super chat to get through. Yo, what's up, Richie? And, of course, CK2K, smooth, not going to lie. The second round against the Sixers is going to be tough. Hey, man, let's get through round one first. But I understand. Right. King Matthews, I always appreciate your support, man. Means a lot to me. New York, we here. Make sure you guys tune in to Knicks Fan TV for CK2K. He's the co-host over there. And, of course, his channel. We appreciate all the support. The Knicks community is phenomenal. I'm so grateful to be a part of it. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. New York.